Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy, Earth Matt, the mad scientist, man. Woo! Tuesday night fights, baby. Tuesday night fights, man. The Tuesday night wars, as they call it, for one night only, for 1 week only. AEW was moved to Tuesday nights, which is the same night that NXT runs, right? So, obviously, Shawn Michaels, Triple H was in their bag tonight. So was AEW. So was Tony Khan. We don't see the back and forth on the internet. We don't see Twitter was going off. Like Twitter was going but wow today. Yesterday, today, tonight was just basically the worst of it. But I'm telling you right now, the real winner, before I even get into these, the real winner is really the fans, man. The fans were eating today. I mean, they had a buffet of everything you want out of a professional wrestling show, whether it was AEW, whether it was NXT, don't even matter, man. Everybody was eating. It was number 1 and number 2 trending all over social media when it comes down to Twitter. I'm telling you right now, it was awesome show. But man, what I'm gonna do on this show right now, man, I'm gonna break down each show, man, because I watched NXT on my phone and I watched AEW Dynamite on my television, so I was simultaneously watching them, and I was back and forth, man. Let's start with the beginning. Let's start with the beginning. Now, before we even get into this, I got to think about this. Before we get into this, let's address the internet community. I know I said this so many times, man. The IWC, man, it's like some of the most toxic fan base ever. Like, there's some people that have a social media following for doom posts. Like, they just follow these people so they can tweet the trashiest takes you can ever have on a wrestling show, and mostly it's centered towards AEW. Like, I don't know what it is about you bottom feeders that just want another company to fail so badly. And most of you will say, oh, well, Tony Khan brought it on himself. I'm like, it's another pro wrestling show. Like, how else would you want to do that? Like, how else would you want to present your pro wrestling show? It's on national television. Like, you're just gonna sit there and just bow down and like, oh well, we're small. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna act like we big or whatever the case may be. Nah, you're a national television show. You're a billionaire. You technically got more money than the other guy. So I mean, you're gonna puff your chest out. I mean, rightfully so. And honestly, what is wrong with competition? Because whenever there's competition, the product is better, no matter which way you slice it. Like, let's not forget, us older wrestling historians out here, the greatest time in professional wrestling was when there was competition. The Monday Night Wars, when it was Nitro, when it was Raw, you was flipping channels. Some was better than the other one night, the other was better than the other night. It don't even matter, but everybody was eating because it pushed the other company to do better. That's what it's all about. But you got these people on the internet that just straight bashing the product, like left and right. Not even realizing that maybe indirectly you hurting the talent, maybe indirectly because of your, obsessive trolling when it comes to whatever wrestling company that you support or what, or don't like, that you just spread negativity all over the wrestling community. Like, you just making us look bad. You make us look bad. Like, you make it hard for a new fan to actually jump in, to actually be a fan because of your toxicity. And that's all these bottom feeders out here. I saw it all over the internet, all over Twitter. Like, they have nothing else better to do than to sit there and say something negative. Like, I don't know how it ends up on my timeline. I don't even follow these cats. And they just spread negativity, man. You just want to choke the life out of them. But that's neither here or there. Let's talk about NXT and AEW. Now, mind you, there was some back and forth. Like, Tony Khan was, when Tony Khan first announced that AEW is going to be on Tuesday nights, okay, let's keep it a buck here. Triple H did say we don't view AEW as competition, but let's be real here. This is NXT, right? This is supposed to be the homegrown talent. But you bring the homegrown talent and you bring the Hall of Famers. You bring Paul Heyman. You bring John Cena, future Hall of Famer. You bring The Undertaker. You bring Asuka in the mix. You bring Jade Cargill, rightfully so. Cargill and Brian Pillman Jr., not a Hall of Famer, but you bring mostly main roster guys that say, okay, we will raise you. Since you want to do on Tuesday nights, We're going to make sure that you are secondary. And there were some sources saying that we're going to make AEW feel like they're secondary. You know, the first 30 minutes is going to prove that. It didn't prove that. I'm going to just be honest. It really didn't prove that. I am a huge Cody Rhodes fan, man. And I know once it was advertised that he was going to make an announcement, it's a no-brainer what he went to NXT to do. It was a no-brainer. I mean, the Dusty Rhodes Classic, who better person to announce that than his son? That was the big announcement. Oh, also, guess what? I'm the general manager just for the night. Magically. You know what I'm saying? So the first 15 minutes of the show started with just a promo. Whereas you got AEW starting off with a match right off the rip. You got Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, a pay-per-view style match. I'm not overhyping it. It was a very good match. I mean, the most important spots I'm not a professional wrestler. Let me put that out there. But I was always told that the two most important spots in a wrestling show is your first match and that very last match. Like, you start off with Detroit Rock City, to quote Bully Ray, and then you end it on a bang. That's what you do. But the formula that was put out there is the same formula that I always see on SmackDown, on Raw. You start off with a promo, then another guy comes out, then a match gets made. It's official. It's the same formula. Being a WWE fan, as I am, as long as I have, and as long as we all are, you should know when you about to get finessed. Because when they did the SmackDown on Fox, the very first SmackDown on Fox, they advertised The Undertaker. They threw all this out there, how the big main event is Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston, and Kofi only lasted there for like 5 seconds at least. We literally watched a 2-hour show to watch a 5-second main event. Got finessed. So I was like, I refuse to get finessed again. Like, you're not going to get me again. Like, you put all this stuff out here as a ratings grab. No. And there was some people on the internet that was sitting there talking like they got a bigger card than AEW. What card? You had people talking and made an appearance. You had a handful of matches there, but you didn't have bell-to-bell matches. You didn't have that. Like, I don't know what these people, I think people just pull stuff out their ass just to say things, right? So, you know, it was in right format for Cody to introduce the Dusty Classic. I mean, rightfully so. Like, I mean, that's part of Cody's story. That makes sense. You know, him coming to NXT made sense for him to say, hey, the Dusty Classic is coming, and, you know, I'm the general manager for the night. Now, that was a little icing on the cake there. But when you go to Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson having their match commercial free, and Christian actually cold opening this show and saying, because of me, it's commercial free. I'm partners with TNT. I'm partners with Warner Brothers. It's because of me that you got a commercial free show. Now, mind you, we were surprised with AEW with a 45-minute commercial free show. Not a 30-minute commercial free show. So, obviously, there's more of a story there with Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, with Hangman Adam Page being the hater that he is. I'm pro Swerve, right? But he progressing the story, and Swerve ended up coming up short. But if you really pay attention to that match, Swerve was corner to corner, bell to bell with Bryan Danielson. On a technical standpoint, like, Swerve's character has further elevated for being in the ring with Bryan Danielson. And honestly, that begs the question, you got to run it back. Because if it wasn't for Hangman Page, maybe Swerve would have took that dub. Now you got more of a story being written there. Then later on in the evening, you got Hangman and Jay White, and then Prince Nana actually interfering in that match, and Jay White actually getting the dub there. Now, going back to NXT, where you got Dragunov and Dirty Dom. Now, let me tell you about Dirty Dom, man. Dirty Dom is your guy. He's your money for NXT. He's your top heel. Just have him in NXT. Just have Judgment Day pop in every now and again, do their thing. But if you listen to that crowd, Dom can bring a crowd in. Dom will be the reason that you can have the Barclays Center again. You can have those arenas again. He's the reason for that. Have Dom there. Like, Dom is your guy. Dom is your golden goose. That's what it is. He's your golden goose. But Dom and Dragunov announced for later on in the night, and it was a bang of a match. Of course, you had some interference here and there, but Dragunov ends up retaining the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. Now, if I had to pencil, that would be the main event because it's the World Heavyweight title. You know, it's your main title for NXT, right? If you want to say, because John Cena actually came out, he promoted NXT. He said, listen, there's SmackDown, there's Raw, but we are NXT. You know, that type of thing. If we are NXT, the NXT World Heavyweight Championship should be the last match on the card. Now, you could have had Undertaker there too. You could have had Dragunov, but I think you're working towards a bigger goal here. Now, Dragunov versus Brian Breaker, that's money. That is some money there. There's some money to be made right there, right? I think they were throwing everything in the kitchen sink with NXT. NXT was a great show. I feel like you should have an NXT homecoming at least once a year. Like people that graduated from NXT and went to the main roster have to come back to NXT and just pop up. Just have an NXT homecoming every single year, man. I guarantee you it's going to pop ratings. It's going to be what it is. And honestly, let's be real. The only reason that NXT had all these main roster stars is because AEW was on the night. That's it. And a part of me felt like you recognize AEW for what it is. You know, you're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink. You're going to ruin the day of AEW. From what I understand, I don't care what the ratings look like. I don't care how many people viewed NXT, how many people viewed AEW. Both shows were very good. Both shows were phenomenal for totally different reasons. NXT was banging because of the star power, because of the people that were showing up. Now, mind you, again, watching WWE for so long, you kind of know in your mind, it's already wired in your mind what they're going to deliver to you. It's a ratings grab. I already know that. So I already know they're going to open up with a promo. They're not going to open up with a match. They're going to set things up for later on that night. It's the formula that they always do for the most part. Not every week, but for the most part. If you see somebody talking, I'm going to change the channel because there's going to be a match starting off the show here. So that one made me change the channel. That was no diss towards Cody or anything like that. But you know, when you're running neck and neck, man, you got to start with a banger. I mean, internet wise, I'm not sure how true that is. You say, hey, we're going to make in the first 30 minutes, we're going to make AEW look secondary. You didn't make like AEW look secondary. You just didn't. It was a better product there for like the first 30 minutes. But yeah, so you look at the Asuka match, Asuka, Roxanne Perez. I mean, Asuka match was very, very good. They said that Asuka remained undefeated. But to be honest, if you really look at NXT on a deeper level tonight, you looked at the younger talent getting the rub. Let's start with Carmelo Hayes, right? Carmelo Hayes have interacted with John Cena, and you know, him and his boy Trick Williams having backstage segments with John Cena, and then you have a typical banger match with Braun Breaker, with Paul Heyman there and John Cena in the corner. They're no longer available by the end of the night, and then Braun comes out. He interacts with Undertaker, and Undertaker is the biggest dog on the yard, retired or not. He is the biggest dog on the yard. So if he shows up in a WWE arena, a WWE stadium, whatever the case may be, wherever you may go, and they got WWE branded and Undertaker gonna show up, people gonna watch it because it's somebody he's interacting with, and the person he's interacting with, whether he's getting choke slam, tombstone, or even getting his hand raised, you share the ring with the Undertaker. So Braun Breaker gets choke slam because you know Undertaker made him famous. The more I listen to Braun Breaker on the mic, the more I hear Scott Steiner. I mean, he sounds just like his uncle. I just like him. And that's money. He got the look. He got the mic skills, man. You just keep on doing it. But yeah, he got the rub from the Undertaker there. And then There's a final shot with Carmelo Hayes and The Undertaker with their one hand raised as Daryl's closing the show. Like, that's a phenomenal rub. You got John Cena and Undertaker in your corner. That is next level stuff right there. That is future WrestleMania main event stuff. To me, those were the biggest highlights for NXT for me. Was the rub to the younger talent. I think that when you look at this, at the deep rootedness of this, you know. The other highlight to me was Brian Pillman Jr. no longer being called that. He's called I think Lexus King, and that name is buried. I'm gonna use the name from the person that raised me, and that's King. I like that promo. That's a chip on the shoulder type of promo. I really do like that, and I'm anxious to see what he's planning on doing, because that look that he has speaks volumes. They're going to make a star out this guy. This guy is a future NXT World Champion, and they're going to polish him like it is no tomorrow. So that's two, man. That's two. Then you got Jade Cargill showing up, just popping up, seeing what's up, that kind of thing. And the star power was there. It felt like a homecoming of sorts. Now, mind you, most of the people that showed up on NXT never stepped foot at NXT. Not on TV anyway, not a performance center wise. And there was pictures of the crowd lining up since 11 a.m. The day before for NXT. Now, let me tell you something. You better wash your ass. I'm just letting you know. Like, why would I camp out at NXT a day before the show starts without washing? Like, somebody put it on Twitter like it smelled like Chernobyl in there. Like, come on now. That's bad. It ain't that serious, okay? Go home. Wash your ass. You can make it. You already got a ticket. No one's going to steal your seat. It's okay. What point are you trying to prove here? Go home. Wash your ass. That's all I'm telling you. Wash your ass. Overall, NXT was a great show. No doubt about it. I feel like, now, if I had to critique NXT, I wish they would have showcased a little bit some more matches. The Brawling Brutes, very good match, very good, train wreck type of match. Really do like that type of deal. But the rub that Carmelo Hayes got, that Braun Breaker got, Dragunov, another one that got the rub, man. Future stuff right there. They're building. They're rebuilding again. I know this is another show for another day on the glory days of NXT Black and Gold compared to NXT 2.0 and what it is right now. But that's another story for another day. Now, let's talk about AEW Dynamite. From bell to bell, as advertised. They literally started at 7:30 p.m. and ended at 10:15 p.m. They added more time. TBS said, hey, we give you more than 10 minutes. We give you indefinite amount of time. Which in all honesty, it was just an extra 5 minutes. But, it is what it is. So it started off with Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki. Let me tell you something. Minoru Suzuki is the Batman of AEW, man. Whenever there's some crap going on with the other guys, hey, hit the bat signal. Minoru Suzuki gonna pull up, and then when Minoru Suzuki pulls up, the fans pull up. Hey, the pro wrestling fans pull up. It is what it is. So obviously Eddie Kingston, Minoru Suzuki put out, a hard hitting type of match. Eddie Kingston comes out on top, and Minoru Suzuki do one last slap across the chest, and Eddie Kingston do one last slap across his chest, and they hugged and embraced. It was like a show of respect. That was the buy-in, even though you wasn't really buying a pay-per-view, but it was the buy-in. And then you go into 8 o'clock where Christian actually opens the show, and then you get Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland, which is a banger of a match. Now, a lot of people was in an uproar about the MJF segment and Juice Robinson. I don't have an issue with the MJF Juice Robinson bit, because if you were really following that storyline from day one, you fully understand where's that coming from. Now, where I was a little off the rails with it is because I'm thinking that Adam Cole was going to be the one to do that, like not Juice Robinson. But don't matter because obviously there's a bigger story at play here, right? Bigger story at play. So for those that don't know, for those that choose to be offended, MJF cut a promo, I would say maybe a couple months ago, where he told a story where he was getting bullied in school, and he's Jewish, and kids pretty much doused him in a roll of in quarters and told him to pick the quarters up. So that was his promo, right? So he was telling his story about how he can't trust anyone from that day forward. That's why he became the person that he is, and he's slowly getting back to this regular guy that's trying to fix himself, right? And MJF comes out and he wants his belt back because Jay White stole it, and they was going back and forth. Now MJF was slowing down a little bit on the promo game. I will say that he did slow down a little bit, but he even went on Twitter to acknowledge the fact, like, yeah, you know what, I kind of dropped the ball right there. I dropped the ball, but I guarantee you I'll be back. The best thing as a professional wrestler is to take criticism and know the correct things that you're going to correct. And I can't agree more, right? That is a leader. That is a leader all day. So when him and Jay White was cutting that promo back and forth, Juice Robinson ended it saying, hey, the Dynamite Diamond Ring, the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal is coming up, and I'm coming to get that ring. And when I get that ring, he pulls out a roll of quarters with Maxwell's name on it, last names on it, and say, I got these for you. And then at that point, you saw raw emotion come out of MJF, man. You saw, like, I felt the anger that he had. Like that right there. When you catch somebody like that, that's it. Because now you really want Juice Robinson to get his ass whipped. Like, you really want MJF to whoop his ass. But there's also another story hanging out there. Who attacked Jay White? Was it truly MJF? Or was it Bullet Club Gold themselves? Or could be some of the guys that got released by WWE but can't really show their face right now. That could be the case. But these are all rumors, right? All rumors. Now, take a little break in the AEW Dynamite coverage. Speaking of rumors, there was a lot of rumors circling today when it comes to CM Punk and Velveteen Dream. It was reports that Velveteen Dream was in therapy and that he's been frequently visiting the Performance Center, and he was at a Performance Center yesterday. Now, according to reports, that wasn't the case here. Executives were like, nah, he wasn't here yesterday, and there's no plans to resign him. Also, with the CM Punk situation, someone put out this bullshit that's talking about he signed an $11 million 1-year deal with WWE, and that got immediately debunked. And according to reports with officials and top talent was informed, there are currently no talks between CM Punk and WWE. Now, how true that is, that remains to be seen. We'll see at Survivor Series in Chicago. Because if he doesn't show up there, two places I can see CM Punk showing up at: Survivor Series, which is in Chicago, and Royal Rumble, because you don't know who's going to pop up, which is the most exciting time in WWE when you really think about it, because you don't know who's going to show up at the Royal Rumble. Now, also, WWE could be saying this to throw you off their scent, because everybody is on that scent. Everybody's picking up on these subtle hints that CM Punk is coming and all this other crap. So I think a lot of people got a lot of time on their hands. Like, just believe it when you see it. But according to reports, Velveteen Dream, CM Punk are not in talks with WWE at this time. They are not signed with WWE. There you have it. So back to Dynamite. There was a change of a change, because Jon Moxley wasn't cleared to go after AEW International Championship belt from Rey Fenix. And he got replaced with Orange Cassidy. Now, surprisingly, it kind of threw me off a little bit. Orange Cassidy regains the AEW International Championship. Now, I am an Orange Cassidy fan. Do not get it twisted by any stretch of the imagination. But it looks as though that Rey Fenix was supposed to not have that belt on him. He needed the belt off of him as quickly as possible, and it didn't matter. But Orange Cassidy is the international champion right now, and obviously he's going to have a one-on-one match with Jon Moxley again for the second time. I'm saying again like they did it 50 times, but no, for the second time. I can see that happening. Once Jon Moxley's clear, it's happening. It's happening again. But honestly, I kind of want Orange Cassidy to face someone else. You know, like Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, even though Powerhouse Hobbs is in another situation. Now, I'm going to get on Powerhouse Hobbs in a minute. Miro, that's another glaring person that maybe should carry that AEW International Championship. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. I mean, if I was AEW Dynamite, I know you try to put your best foot forward, man. I know Miro is on Collision. I know Andrade is on Collision. I know Malachi Black is on Collision. You could have put any of them guys on there tonight, but I'm not complaining. There were some good stories. Now, that title change was a shocker because my mouth was dropped open. I wasn't expecting a title change here, but they call it Title Tuesday, so it is what it is. But fast forward to Powerhouse Hobbs and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho put that man over to high heaven. Chris Jericho got dominated by Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, dominated. He is becoming the monster that he is. And him being with Don Callis and the Don Callis family, man, he is on his way, man. This is like slow and steady. Just keep on doing what you're doing, Powerhouse Hobbs, man, because he got everybody on notice. To the point where Chris Jericho was at the hospital, for maternal bleeding and all this other stuff. So, hey, it's happening. Wardlow, he's going back in his rare form to be an unstoppable force. So I like where they're going with this. Keep that momentum going. Keep him destroying people until you get to the point of him meeting a challenge and have him beat that challenge. And then you just rebuild him as the monster that he is. You got some powerhouses in the AEW. You got Powerhouse Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, Miro. You got Lance Archer. Have not forgotten about him. You got some monsters here. Future champions. That's all I'm saying. But Powerhouse Hobbs is over. He is over as a heel. Now, one of the other highlights to me was Toni Storm, man. Toni Storm has continued to become better and better every single week. I look forward to her vignettes, and it was very smart how they did it. They did it to the point of they do a silent movie, but it was doing a picture-in-picture. And I noticed in some parts of the commercials, she was acting out the commercials, which is awesome. And a lot of people don't realize Toni is very theatrical. Like, I've seen her in Japan, and everything else in between. So continue to do what you're doing with Toni Storm, man. I'm loving it. The crowd loves it. Everybody loves it. She showed up later to interfere in the match between Hikaru Shida and Saraya because Ruby was interfering in the match and obviously watched the shoe. Toni took care of business there. So that even further expands that storyline. And what's funny about it is people were complaining about Saraya. People was complaining that, her title defenses are boring and yada, yada, yada. Like, she's a heel. Like, she's not here for your pleasure. She here to defend her titles and win them and retain them and keep on booking. You know what I'm saying? But also on a flip end, a lot of people was kind of upset about how Hikaru Shida won the title, and then almost like a week or two later, she goes on All In and she loses the title at All In. And then she's the first 3-time women's champion, man. Now, this right here, I want her to have a lengthy title run. I want her to have a significant title run where she goes through some people. Maybe a heel turn to further the story, man. I mean, there's a plethora of women in that locker room that deserves that title shot. and I believe Hikaru Shida should have a lane 3 title run. Now, you got two different storylines here. Now you got Saraya and Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. Now you may get that Maria May popping up in AEW, and now you got two different women's storylines going on. I see what you're doing, AEW, but please do not take this away from us. That's all I'm telling you. Don't take it away from us. You got yourself a storyline with these women. Keep it going. Keep it going. Loving every bit of it. Now, mind you, I was looking at Mercedes Moné was going to pop up. That was my thought process. I thought she was going to pop up tonight. I thought Maria May was going to pop up tonight, but we didn't have any pop-ups. And to me, that speaks volumes too, because we don't need pop-up appearances to say, hey, we're better than you. We're just going to put on a badass product, and that's what we're going to do. Now, Hikaru Shida being a 3-time women's champion, man, that was a shocker, man. I did not think that Saraya was going to drop the Women's World Championship tonight. I would figure she would drop it at a pay-per-view, but it didn't happen that way. And honestly, if you really look at the number 1 and number 2 trending, AEW Dynamite was number 1 for a period. NXT was number 1 for a majority of the night. And then the moment Shida won the Women's World Championship, AEW Dynamite went at number 1. Tony Khan, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you real quick. You see what you got, right? These women, they literally put you in the number 1 spot for a period. Put you in the number 1 spot on Twitter. On social media, Hikaru Shida winning the Women's World Championship, man. We need more women's matches. We need more bangers like that. We need more storytelling for women like that. I propose this. You got partnerships with New Japan. You got a great relationship with Impact. You got Ring of Honor right there, and you got AEW. How about you do a all women's tournament, man? Just like Revolver. I think it was called Revolver, where Renee Paquette and John Moxley, they was hosting. I was watching a little bit of that. Why don't you just have a tournament where, there's like this huge cup, like Do Not Crucify Me, IWC. I want to say it's the Queensberry Cup. I wanted that's what it was. But do it like a women's version, like an all women's tournament. And you have it for for a couple days, like a weekend or something like that. Kind of like how the G1 Supercard is, but do it with all women. And then with the person that wins, they get that briefcase just like New Japan, and they can cash it in for their title shot. Now that's their contract. It's not Money in the Bank. You can't cash in at any point. You just cashing in at this particular specific time, and that's what you're going to do. Man, you know how many women will be showcased between ROH, AEW, Impact, and Stardom? You got yourself a gold mine, TK. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because we've been clamoring for more women's matches. You can easily have a tournament. Easily have a weekend tournament. Just all women. Just storytelling galore, man. Matches. Hard-hitting matches. You got it. You got it. All these women is just, I know they're ready for it. But Hikaru Shida, actually, being the 3-time women's champion, man, I mean, she got the look. She got the in-ring skills. Everybody loves her. Man, that is the way to go. I'm hoping and praying for a lengthy title run with Hikaru Shida. Like, praying for that. Hoping for that. And then obviously hoping for a bigger storyline between Ruby, Saraya, Toni Storm, and the person that's going to support Toni Storm, which everybody kind of knows, Maria May. Or it could be Mercedes Moné. Don't know. Now, moving on to the promo that Christian cut. Now, I'm going to tell you, Christian, this is the best, to me, this is probably some of the best work Christian has gotten as a singles performer. A TNT champion. You're not just going to take it from him. I don't see him losing that title on Saturday. I really don't think he will. His promos is like concise and straight to the point, and it cards you deep. It cuts you deep, and that's what, and he leaves it at that. He's like, listen, I'm not a leader. I'm their father. Clearly, he's been listening to the IWC. Clearly, he's been listening to what people have been saying. I'm their father. I'm doing what I'm doing for them. I'm not their leader. And the Adam Copeland Luchasaurus match was good. It was definitely good. I wasn't expecting like a lengthy a lengthy match to that level, but hey, I was happy, and I think Adam was having a time of his life in there, and it was chaotic. I know he got goosebumps from doing that. I know he's hurting a little bit, but it's ended with a brawl. And also, again, I'm gonna go back. AEW Dynamite was #1 trending when Hikaru took over and won the women's championship. The only thing that switched the places was when Undertaker actually pulled up at NXT. That switched it from #1 to #2 was Undertaker. That's it. I mean, obviously it's the Undertaker. People gonna tune in to see the Undertaker. I mean, can't really call that an L per se. You know what I'm saying? But Tony, more women's matches. Let them give them time. Give them the work. I feel like it had proper match placement, because obviously this is Adam Copeland's like first match. This is his debut match, so obviously you want it to be the show, the match that ends the show. So yeah. Now, who really won the night between AEW and NXT? Overall, AEW won the night. Overall, I don't care if it's 50,000 people that seen it. I don't give a shit if it's 250 people that seen it. It don't matter. It was the better show. If you don't think that was the better show, from bell to bell, match to match, with a little bit of promos cut in between there, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, someone said on the internet, like, oh, well, they got one technical match and Cody was talking for 15 minutes, made more entertaining. Oh, a pro wrestling show actually doing a pro wrestling match. Go fucking figure. Still yet, man. AEW was the better show. It was, hands down. So, and honestly, when it comes down to the ratings war, I would not be surprised if NXT wins the ratings war for tonight because of the star power. They had more star power. So, John Cena, LA Knight, you have Undertaker, Asuka, you had more Jade Cargill, Paul Heyman. You had more star power. You had the main roster guys come over to NXT. And that's where we're at with it. As far as the ratings goes, yes, people in the IWC gonna be bragging about the numbers. Now, would it be surprising if AEW actually wins that night? That actually would be pretty dope if they did, because if they did win the ratings war for that one night, man, there's gonna be a lot of butthurt mofos around here. But that remains to be seen. That stuff got to get tallied up. You're gonna catch that within the next 24 hours. What happened? 24 or 48 hours, maybe. But again, I say, that does not matter. What is the better show? If you are a true pro wrestling fan, why can't you enjoy both shows? Why do you have to talk negatively or doom post or shit post about the other wrestling company? Like, for the people that buy a ticket to go to a show to take videos of how the entire arena looks, and they say, hey, look how empty these seats are. Man, they ain't selling out these shows. What is the benefit? What is the reason? Did you buy a ticket just to say that? Or did you buy a ticket just to enjoy the show? Because I feel like so many people buy tickets just to do that. You wasting your money. You wasting our time, your time. Don't you just pay a ticket to watch a show that you know you're going to enjoy, versus going and pay for a show that you're going to just say, hey, yo, look at what's going on out here. Look at me. I'm the one who posted. Can I get clicked? Can I get clicks? Can I get likes? Can I get paid? Stupid. Just stupid. But yeah, AEW had a better show. Like match to match, bell to bell, it had a better show. Star power wise, NXT had it. It is what it is. You know, with the promos being cut, with the rubs being handed out to the younger talent. That's what it was. I mean, depends on what you like. Honestly, it's all subjective. It depends on what you prefer. It depends on what you like. Me personally, I prefer a pro wrestling show. I prefer stories being told. I do. If I had to critique AEW, and I think they're getting consistently better with what they're doing, I think, more stories need to be told, because once stories are being told, then you're going to grab the audience. I feel like as far as advertisement goes, you should advertise more than just Twitter or on social media. You should advertise on Good Morning America. You should advertise on all these major news outlets that's national, to the point where everybody and their mom come sell out these shows. Because honestly, when you look at AEW, we always cater to the core fan base. We are always going to be there no matter what, because we like the fact that there's another wrestling company. We like the fact that there's an alternative. Now, to get the casual fans over, that's how you properly advertise it. Add more women to the match lineup. Have more than just one match. Just have 2, maybe 3 matches. Put it out there. You got some phenomenal women on that roster. Athena. Just saying, man. Put on the shows more. We want to see more of that. Obviously Mercedes Moné is coming, but overall, because NXT definitely had some good matches. The matches that they have showcased had some good matches, and they're trying to make it a third brand once again, and hence why the main roster stars were showing up. Triple H never had to do that when it was black and gold, but near here or there, it's whatever. But again, I am a fan of all wrestling. NXT put on a great show. AEW put on a great show. But if I had to put one over the other, I'm gonna have to put over AEW this time around. But as far as star power goes, NXT holds that crown. So again, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, the more likes we get, the more views we get, and the more we can put out more content for better quality and service for you. All right, I hope you guys have a great night. Now, if you just so happen to miss NXT and you just so happen to miss AEW, I hope you DVR'd it, because I think that's what most people did. Some people just went back to nostalgia and just kept flipping back and forth. No DVRs, which I kind of like. I kind of dig that. But competition is good. It's almost made me wish that it was like this every week, because it was a good feeling. That competitive spirit, because it makes you want to watch what is their retaliation to this show? What's their retaliation to this show? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? It was a feel-good moment. Like the Wednesday Night Wars, when if you call it that, or the Wednesday Night Conflict, it was fun. They was putting on bangers. So hopefully this is not the last time we see this. We'll see. But you guys have a good night. Until next time, y'all. Peace.